Beautiful day, bitter criticism. Compliments are criticism too. Isn't it, Tommy? Such a big boy. Tommy will be a heavyweight champion. I was watching a lot of videos about boxing, about heavyweight champions. It is interesting. It's a passion, isn't it? My favorite was Mike Tyson, but now I guess my favorite is Lennox Lewis. I know it's kind of destructive. All these boxers, all of them, they get crazy. They got a lot of problems. Well, but that's life, you know. That's life. Life is a boxing. Life is a boxing contest. That will be the headline. I guess today there's no Elanus leucurus. There's a bird over there, but I guess that's a seagull. Oh no, this is a seagull. Seagulls are not so bad, but they are like mules. No, understand? They don't need, you know. They don't need to. I will say that there's 100 seagulls for a billion seagulls for one Elanus leucurus, which is a hawk. And I don't know why the hawk, the Elanus leucurus, to me is so much more graceful. These seagulls over there, they are like pigeons. They eat shit. They don't have skills, flying skills, not too much. Bitter criticism, criticizing the seagulls, poor seagulls. Just 1 second, would you? Just practicing my English skills. One day I will be Elanus leucurus of English. Well, I was watching these videos in English too. You know, these heavyweight champions. That's better too. That's nice too, to improve your English, to improve your language skills. Bitter criticism with Tommy Tyson. I guess if I watch again a video of Mike Tyson was really great. I guess Mike Tyson has a spectacular attack. That's for sure. Spectacular attack. But I guess they say this in the boxing language, in the boxing glossary. They say that they didn't have a powerful chin, I guess. So there's boxers like Bruno, for example. Bruno, he couldn't get a lot of hits on his chin, you know. He was Bruno was strong. Mike Tyson, not too much. So overall, Mike Tyson was a great attacker with a great offensive boxer, but not too much as defensive. He didn't have a strong chin, you know. Could get too much hits. Too much jobs. Anyway, September 14. I guess I will keep watching heavyweight highlights. There's a lot of them. If you search for heavyweight champions, in the 50s, there was a lot of champions, like champions that remain like 9 years, 5 years. There's a long way, a lot of fights. They just win it all. And well, and then I saw some videos about the champion of our time. It was not so great, I guess. This is a Ukrainian, but I have a lot of videos to see. I don't know what's doing that. In the end, it's kind of sick. This boxing is not so healthy, you know. It's not so healthy because there's not too much science there. But this is fascinating because it is very destructive too, you know. If a boxer, a boxing player, a boxer, if he loses and he got a lot of damage, he will not be the same again, understand? And why? And unfortunately, because of little mistakes, you know, little mistakes in fights. So it's not right to say that some boxers are bad. Or the question is, it's hard to maintain your prime, you know. It's almost impossible because in a boxing fight, boxers will always, these boxers will always get some pain, you know, get some hits on their heads. So it doesn't exist the prime of a boxer, you know. Yeah, so after the first losses, the boxers always, I was watching stories about the great champions, about this, there was a Samoan champion, where he went to the United States, started to eating a lot of crap, a lot of shit, junk food, and he lost his speed, you know. This boxer lost his speed, and stories like that, you know. It was just a minute for my dogs. Just a minute recording my dogs. Problem is now the dogs are doing something great again. Well, and that's it. This kind of box is very polemical because nobody wants to have the damage, you know. Of course, anybody watching a fight, get really inspired by the conflict, you know, the conflict itself, and the truth is sometimes boxing, as I know, boxing is not that interesting because there's not too much action, you know. There's not too much action. It's kind of boring, but the highlights are great, definitely. And well, the highlight will show you that it's better not to be a boxer because you will have brain damage. You will be dumb. But nonetheless, there are some boxers very, very interesting, very smart, very Even elegant like Lennox Lewis, he's a great guy, you know. He's not a dumb, he's not a stupid. And there's a lot of another like, well, there's the personality of the boxers too. Anyway, I will read some Russia Today now. Russia Today, September 14, 2024. Home Russia, former Soviet Union. Russia and former Soviet Union. Kursk counteroffensive, Donbass advance, and return on strike drones. The week in the Ukraine conflict videos. There's an article about videos. Moscow's forces have made new gains in Donbass while regain control over multiple settlements in Kursk region. A Russian Uragan multiple rocket launcher system pictured on September 9, 2024. This Russian Uragan multiple rocket launcher. Yeah, this is something like ATACMS and something, I guess. The past week in the Russia-Ukraine conflict has seen hostilities continue along the front line, with the most active combat taking place in Russia's Donetsk People's Republic, DPR, and Kursk region. On Tuesday, the Russian Defense Ministry reported seizing control of the DPR village of Grigorovka, located to the north of the town of Chasov Yar. The latter, which is split into two uneven parts by a canal, has seen intense combat over the past few months, with Russian forces seizing control over its eastern part. On the same day, Russia announced the liberation of Vodyanoye, a small mining town in the DPR located just northeast of the Ukrainian-controlled town of Ugledar, located on a hill in the open and consisting almost exclusively of high-rise concrete buildings. It had been turned by the Ukrainian military into a major fortress. The capture of Vodyanoye marks an important milestone in the battle for Ugledar, which has been going on for months already, as it further complicates logistics for the Ukrainian troops in the area. Donbass advance. Russian forces have made major new gains in the west of the DPR, continuing their advance to the northwest of the town of Ocheretino, once a large logistic hub and a major Ukrainian stronghold. The town was a key part of the now defunct defensive line where Ukraine unsuccessfully tried to halt the Ukrainian advance after the liberation of Advinka early this year. Over the past week, Russian forces continue to expand their zone of control to the west and southwest of the town, liberating several settlements in the area, namely Novgorodovka, Kalinovo, Memrik, Galitsnovka, and Dolinovka. Russian troops have also advanced further towards the city of Pokrovsk, also known as Krasnoarmeysk, the last major settlement under Ukrainian control in the area. And we have a map here. So this is all controlled by Russia. Pokrovsk. There's a city called Progress. What a shithole, this city. Because if your city is terrible, you will call it you will call your city Progress, you know. You will call your city wonderful. What about there's a New York in Ukraine. So sad. Intense fighting now continues in the towns of
Selidovo and Ukrainsk, with roughly half of the latter reportedly now under Russian control. This week, the Russian Defense Military announced the liberation of Krasnogorovka, a large town located some 5 kilometers to the southeast of Galicinovka. The town has seen extensive combat over the past few months. Another map. Donetsk and so on. Selinovo, yeah, now I know. The remaining Ukrainian forces between Galicinovka and Krasnogorovka have now effectively ended up in a large pocket, which is unlikely to last long. The area consists of open fields separated by small strips of woods and lacks any large roads. Just a second again. I'm considering to make a movie. I'm considering making a movie right here, you know, a monologue, a long monologue. Like there's a almost monologue in Brazil, a Brazilian author called, I don't remember the author's name, but Un copo de cólera, a cup of cólera. And well, right here is beautiful, so I guess I'm going to. The truth is, there's incentives to do movies. It's like a business, you know. Making movies is like a business. I'm not sure if I'm going to be successful, but there's a lot of bad movies on this how to say, encounters. Anyway, I'm not sure if I'm going to do it. The remaining Ukrainian forces between Galicinovka and Krasnogorovka have now effectively ended up in a large pocket, which is unlikely to last long. The area consists of open fields separated by small strips of woods and lacks any large roads, according to multiple Ukrainian media reports citing military sources. Some units stationed in the area have already begun leaving it on their own despite receiving orders to stay at their positions. Kursk counteroffensive. Moscow has launched a counteroffensive against the Ukrainian forces in Russia's Kursk region, regaining control of some 10 settlements in the west and northwest of the area seized by Kiev since the beginning of the incursion in early August. According to the Russian Defense Ministry, the villages of Apanasovka, Byakovo, Vishenevka, Viktorovka, Vnezapnoye, Gordivka, Krasno, and etc. have all been liberated. This is said to significantly complicate things for the Ukrainian invasion force and may jeopardize its logistics. as the majority of the villages are located along one of the two major roads that cross the border seized by Kiev during the attack. Footage circulating online shows that Russian troops used a large number of armored vehicles during the push. One drone video, for instance, shows a convoy of military vehicles led by a tank rushing towards the village of Znagost, while the advancing forces came under fire. They were able to reach the village successfully and engage the Ukrainians, footage shows. Apparently seeking to thwart the ongoing Russian counteroffensive, Kiev launched new attempts to break through the border at several points further to the west to flank the advancing troops. In particular, Ukrainian forces tried to advance onto the village of Ubukovka, located some 2 kilometers from the border. Thus far, however, the attacks have been repelled and the Ukrainian troops have failed to advance into Russian territory. Multiple drone videos from the scene show Ukrainian troops forcing their way through anti-tank obstacles on the border and trying to advance deeper, but coming under heavy fire in the process. Over the past 2 days, Kiev's forces have reportedly lost over a dozen vehicles in the area, including military engineering machines. According to the latest estimates by the Russian military, Ukraine has lost more than 12,795 soldiers killed and wounded since the beginning of the Kursk incursion in early August. The invasion force has also sustained heavy material damage, losing at least 108 tanks, 44 infantry fighting vehicles, 86 armored personnel carriers, and nearly 700 other armored vehicles. Kiev's forces have also reportedly lost sizable number of high-value assets, including 7 US-made HIMARS and 5, I guess I read this. Yeah, I'm quit, you know. It's just, anyway, it's not substantial. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why Russia don't nuke them all, you know. They're talking about nuclear weapons. Why not? No, I'm sorry. You know, there's all in Russia today. I know nobody watched this show. I'm going to read another one now. Just a second. September 14, 2024. Home, Russia and former Soviet Union. US sanctions against Russia today are aggression. Moscow. What? Russia today? Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova warned BRICS members that they could be next on Washington hit list. The question is, Brazil, at least Brazil, Lula, President Lula, he's kind of too, how to say it, Brazil is not a revolutionary country, you know. Lula is not a revolutionary, so he's always doing whatever the US want to do or something. I will not complain much about my specific life because Brazil is still interesting for me, more than Russia. I'm watching some seagulls over there, yeah. Very confused because some of those seagulls look, I don't know, look. There's my friend over there, look. I'm sorry, but I have to record my friend. I'm sorry, I'm a fan of this bird, this Elanus leucurus bird. I have one here in this, it's not mine, but there's a Elanus leucurus right here. Maybe I will do a profile just for him. I will do a YouTube channel just for him. I guess it's more interesting than Russia. Just one second, I'm posting my not so great video. Not so great. It was 3 minutes of nothing. I will edit this video. 3 videos of nothing. Trim. Unfortunately, I don't know how to do this in this very cell phone, I guess. Yeah, I don't know how to do it. I will do it later. Anyway, I guess I'm going to do it on the very cell phone later. Anyway, so as I was saying, Brazil is a colonized country. Brazil has no sovereignty. That's the question about Brazil. Brazil is part of BRICS, but Brazilians like to say that South Africa is the weakest part of BRICS. But Brazil have no sovereignty, you know. I know some things great to study in Brazil, you know, but that's just a detail. Brazil is not a good country to live, to raise kids, to live forever, you know. Just study and maybe just study and go and migrate to China. That's what I'm going to do, I guess. I'm going to Brazil and then China. The new US sanctions against Russia Today and other Russian media outlets are a brazen act of aggression that should concern the rest of the world, as Washington could apply the same measures to others. Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova has said, you know, Brazilian media is all controlled by the US right now, you know. I cannot imagine a sanction against themselves. It's already controlled by the US, Brazilian media. On Friday, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken announced new restrictions targeting Russia Today parent companies Rossiya, Sedonia, and TV Novosti, while accusing the network of being engaged in covert... Tommy, ven aquí. Tommy. Por acá, mira. Por acá. Aquí, mira, aquí. In cover of being, quote, engaged in covert influence activities and functioning as a de facto arm of the Russian intelligence, end of quote. In her opening remarks at the BRICS Media Summit in Moscow on Saturday, Zakharova described the recent US crackdown on Russian media and, quote, emergency situation that she said should be of direct concerns of the group's members. Read more. They are terrified of dissenting voices. Russia Today comments on new US sanctions. Quote, yesterday Russian journalists became victims of the aggression from the United States of America. They were subjected to a real terrorist and information attack, both as a corporation and as individuals. She noted that the latest restrictions, which he said were based on quote monstrous and baseless accusations, became just another link in the pre-planned chain of events that has seen the U.S. ramp up pressure on Russian media, not only Russia Today, Sputnik, and Rossiya Sedonia, but on their contributors, as relations between Moscow and Washington soured in recent years. Quote, "We cannot remain silent. What is happening now to Russian journalists and media organizations could happen to each and one of you," she warned, addressing BRICS members while urging the global community to express solidarity. I will do it, but Maria Zakharova doesn't know about Brazilian media. It's 100% controlled by the United States of America. Anyway, quote, "This is a crime. This is an assault of freedom of speech. This is an assault of the profession of journalism. This is an assault on human dignity." End of quote. Zakharova previously promised that the U.S. crackdown on Russian media will not go unanswered. Her comments came after Washington last week sanctioned several Russian nationals, including Russia Today editor-in-chief Margarita Simonian, which is such a beautiful lady, and 3 other senior Russia Today employees over alleged efforts to influence the upcoming U.S. elections. What? But this is, this had to be a joke, because journalists, if they really can influence somebody, they will do, and they do, even inside U.S. What about Donald Trump just said yesterday? What about ABC and Fox News? I don't know what happened actually. Anyway, September 14th, Russia and former Soviet Union. Headline: "They are terrified of dissenting voices. Russia Today comments on new U.S. sanctions. The news outlet will continue to work to reach audiences in every corner of the world," the deputy editor-in-chief has said. Yeah, I'm here in Chile reading you. Sorry, this episode was kind of mess. It was the only mess for sure. But they are doing great. Russia Today is doing great. And we have a photograph. Forum participants at the Sputnik radio studio, the Russia Today TV channel, and the Rossiya Segodnia Media Group at the Expo Forum Congress and Exhibition Center. I miss Timur Fomenko. Where's Timur Fomenko? The new U.S. sanctions against Russia Today are further proof that Washington does not want people to hear views that diverge from the mainstream narrative. Russia Today Deputy Editor-in-Chief Anna Belkina has said the latest restrictions against the news outlet were announced by U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who accused it of being engaged in covert influence activities and functioning as a de facto arm of the Russian intelligence. Earlier this month, the U.S. authorities has also sanctioned several Russian nationals, including Russia Today editor-in-chief Margarita Simonian, which is a beautiful lady, and 3 other senior Russia Today employees over alleged efforts to influence the upcoming U.S. election. But what happened? Responding to the sanctions, Belkina stated that there is nothing at all surprising in Washington's latest accusations. At this point, it's amusing to watch that their paranoid minds will come up with next. She said, adding that since launched in 2005, Russia Today simply has been doing its job as journalists, bringing to audiences all around the world the stories and voices that the mainstream media wouldn't allow. Definitely. Read more. Russia Today responsible for eroding support for Ukraine. I will read this too. Quote, the Western establishment has been trying to get rid of Russia Today all this time. But I don't know what the hell the United States did again, Margarita Simonian. The deputy editor, the Western establishment has been trying to get rid of Russia Today all this time. The deputy editor-in-chief cited former U.S. President John F. Kennedy, who said, quote, we are not afraid to entrust the American people with unpleasant facts, foreign ideas, alien philosophies, and competitive values. For a nation that is afraid to let its people judge the truth and falsehood in an open market is a nation that is afraid of its people. Definitely. End of quote. Washington's claims about Russia Today, quote, prove just the opposite. That they are in fact afraid. They are terrified of any truly dissenting voice. End of quote. She stated, adding that policymakers in Washington fear that this narrative will be heard in America and around the world. Even here in the floor of Chile. You know, I'm here because of the graffiti, you know, I'm here because of the title. I have zero money for a regular studio. Actually, I cannot do it, the studio here. Oh, looks like there was a earthquake here. Quote, they want to be the ones to control all the information, all the narratives. Too bad for them, because Russia Today isn't going anywhere. We will continue doing our job, as we will continue to find new ways to reach audiences in every corner of the world, Belkina said. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova has described these sanctions against Russia Today as xenophobia, racism, and Nazism in its purest form. She also previously accused Washington of trampling on freedom of speech and democracy. But you know, I didn't get what happened. What they did is Margarita Simonian forbidden to go to the America. Well, everybody's. I guess nobody can go there. Nobody can go to America. September 13. I don't care neither, you know. I don't care. I have zero fuck about America. Home, Russia and former Soviet Union. Russia Today responsible for eroding support for Ukraine in U.S. State Debt, in U.S. State Department. Quote, the broad scope and reach of the Russian network is turning the global south away from Kiev, spokesman Jamie Rubin has claimed. Well, a photograph, a smartphone with a Russia Today logo. Russia Today has played a major role in eroding support for Ukraine around the world, and the network has fundraised to buy weapons for the Russian military. The U.S. State Department claimed on Friday, I got it, yeah, has fundraised to buy weapons for the Russian military, the U.S. And what's the problem about that? I can see no problem. The only problem I can see is that in 5 months, U.S. will get civil war. The U.S. will go on civil war. That's the only problem I can see in the world now, in this cell phone. The U.S. has sanctioned Russia Today's parent company in response. In a press briefing in Washington, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken revealed a slew of accusations against Russia Today. Blinken claimed that the outlet operates a range of nominally independent news channels on social media in order to spread proclaiming messaging that it operates as secretive cyber operations unit linked to Russia, to Russian intelligence, and that is conversely and that it conversely manages a crowdfunding platform to arm and supply Russian troops fighting in the Ukraine conflict. Quote, thanks to new information, much of which originates from Russia Today employees, we know that Russia Today possesses cyber capabilities and engaged in covert information and influence operations and military procurement. Quote, end of quote. Blinken told reporters, unfortunately, I cannot buy Russian oil just like that in the gas station. I will do it if I could, but I can't because of imperialism, you know? That's the whole truth about the world we live in. Blinken did not fully explain Russia Today's supposed cyber capabilities, but said that the network alleged cyber units runs, quote, covert influence operations around the world and supplies information to Russian media outlets, mercenary groups, mercenary groups and other arms of the Russian government. Unfortunately, I'm just a crazy guy talking alone. No money from Gazprom. That's it. But I'm strong support Russia if I could. If I could, I will give money to Russia. If I had money, I will. If I could, if Chile was a real democracy, I will give my lithium and my copper to Russia. What about that? For their military effort. I hate Antony Blinken. I cannot say it enough. I cannot say it loudly. I mean, I can say loudly but not clearly. The crowdfunding campaign is not directly linked to Russia Today, the American diplomat admitted, before claiming that it is covertly run by a Russia Today employee. According to Blinken, this campaign has raised money within Russia to supply Russian troops with sniper rifles, suppressors, body armor, drones, and other equipment. Aside from these alleged activities, Russia Today's reporting is damaging to U.S. interests. State Department official Jamie Rubin told reporters after Blinken spoke, quote, one of the reasons, not the only reason, why so much of the world has not been fully supportive of Ukraine as you will think they will be, given that Russia has invaded Ukraine and violated rule number 1 of the international system, is because of the broad scope of and reach of Russia Today, where propaganda, disinformation, and lies is spread to millions, if not billions around the world, declared. It's not lies, you know. My only criticism against Russia Today is that CGTN is better. I guess CGTN Chinese journalists are better, I guess. I used to like a lot Timur Fomenko and Bradley Blankenship, but they never show up again. No, you know, the world is just a war. The world is a completely war. That's it. There's no real problem. It's just war, you know. Just war between US and Russia. The US is a imperialistic genocide empire of chaos and destruction. From Chile, I'm telling you, from Chile, this Salvador Allende country. Rubin runs the State Department's Global Engagement Center, GEC. Essentially, it's propaganda and intelligence wing. The GEC has founded propaganda games aimed at children and forced Twitter to censor pro-Russian content, while Rubin admitted last year that he intends to use the GEC to shut down Russian media outlets around the world. Blinken announced that Russia Today's parent company, Rossiya Segodnya, its director, and one other entity, and 2 individuals will be sanctioned in response to the allegations. The sanctions come just over a week after 2 people alleged to work for Russia Today were criminally charged by the U.S. Justice Department for their alleged role in pushing video contents that show, quote, discord and division. What in the U.S.? Discord and division in the U.S. What the hell is that? You know? Of course, this is a democracy or what? Terrible government from the U.S. You know, I declare war right now to the U.S. I declaring war to the U.S. right now. That's it. We are in war, people. We are in war against the U.S. I know your language. I know your stupidity. I know your behavior. You will. Well, that's it. 47 minutes. I have 47 videos. But that is terrible. I will try to end up all this article, but there's more. Look, U.S. sanctions Russia Today. The sanctions come just over a week after 2 people alleged to work for Russia Today were criminally charged by the U.S. Justice Department for the alleged role in pushing videos. This is terrible, crazy. The 2 Russians were also sanctioned by the U.S. Treasury Department, along with Russia Today editor-in-chief Margarita Simonian, beautiful baby, in the 3 other senior employees asked to comment on the State Department's announcement by CNN. Earlier on Friday, Russia Today's press office sarcastically replied, "We've been broadcasting straight out of the KGB headquarters all this time." Quote, but seriously, we are running out of popcorn to sit and watch what the U.S. government will come up with next about us, the press office added. Terrible, stupid people, America. Do you know now? I'm watching you Hawaii. I'm watching you Hawaii. I'm watching you New Zealand. We will came after you.